And joining me now is the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Admiral Mike Mullen. Welcome to This Week.
Good morning.
And we will discuss, of course, Afghanistan. But let me get to the breaking news this morning, the report by the New York Times of the discovery of a new nuclear facility in North Korea. How much of a threat is that to the United States, to the world?
Well, this validates a long-standing concern that we've had with respect to North Korea and its enrichment of uranium. It also continues to validate a country that is led by a dictator who is constantly constantly desires to destabilize the region, and he's done that again certainly with this capability as well. And certainly the development of nuclear weapons is a huge concern for all of us, those in the region as well as those around the globe.
How could this have happened in secret, despite the sanctions that were put on? Practically as the sanctions were put on, this was being built.
Well, he's defied sanctions. There are two actually UN Security Council sanctions that he's defied in this. He's defied what he said he'd do in 2005 because he said he clearly would comply and not generate this kind of capability, and yet he does.
Right, but what options then do you have? If sanctions are the toughest measure and he's doing it, what's your answer to
Well,
that?
I think we have to continue to bring pressure on him specifically. Those in the region, in particular, the six-party talk countries: Russia, China, the United States, Japan, and South Korea. We have to continue to do that. He is predictable in his unpredictability, if you will, because not too long ago, he killed 46 South Korean sailors. He has, over time, continued to destabilize this region. And in fact, I also believe that this has to do with the succession plan for his son.
But do you think they're planning to make more nuclear weapons? What do you think they're trying to do? And again, if sanctions aren't working, what will? Well,
the assumption certainly is that they continue to head in the direction of additional nuclear weapons, and they also are known to proliferate this technology. So they're a very dangerous country, and he has been someone who has not responded thus far to previous actions. He actually blows hot and cold. He moves in a direction for a while and then he reverts, and I certainly would see him in his reversion mode at this particular point.
And why didn't U.S. intelligence discover this?
Well, I won't go into any
But
specific...
isn't that alarming?
I won't go into any specific intelligence kinds of things today, Christiane, but I would say that this is something we've been concerned about for a significant period of time, and also penetration of the North Koreans in terms of intelligence capabilities is very, very difficult.
Do you think China is the one to help you resolve this?
I think China has an awful lot to do with that. I mean, we've been engaged with China for an extended period of time with respect to North Korea. The president sent out a team to each of the capitals this weekend to re-engage, and so that's where we are right now, and I'm sure we will continue to do that. And a great part of this, I think, will have to be done through Beijing.
Are you worried about North Korea making more nuclear weapons right now with this facility? Is that what it's showing?
I've been worried about North Korea and its potential nuclear capability for a long time. This certainly gives that potential real life, very visible life that we all ought to be very, very focused on.
The president and the president of Russia have signed the New START treaty. This week that has been sort of stopping start in the Senate by the #2 Republican senator there, John Kyle. Can I ask you, I'm basically going to wave around a veritable who's who of Republican and Democratic former secretaries of state, of defense, all sorts of people who have been studying this for a long time and say that this has to be ratified. Does it have to be ratified? Is this necessary for U.S. national security?
I think this is, more than anything else, it's a national security issue. I was involved extensively in the negotiations with my counterpart in Russia. We have, for decades, have had treaties with them to be able to verify aspects of the nuclear weapons capabilities that we both have. And from a national security perspective, this is absolutely critical.
So when it comes to the military impact of this treaty, are you convinced that all the military issues have been dealt with and the United States would be no weaker or in a no worse place if this was ratified?
Completely comfortable with where we are militarily. Myself, the rest of the uniformed leadership, as well as the Secretary of Defense.
And the intelligence agencies have signed off on all the verification procedures and measures. You're comfortable with that?
Absolutely. The verification regime that exists in this is in ways better than the one that has existed in the past. Some criticize that there are fewer inspections. The arsenal is much smaller than it used to be. We are close to 1 year without any ability to verify what's going on in Russia.
And you're comfortable with the amount of money that the President and the administration has pledged to modernize American nuclear arsenals?
I have. I've reviewed it several times, and it is a very clear commitment to modernize the nuclear infrastructure in this country.
So by a process of elimination, is the Senate playing politics with American national security?
Well, you'd have to ask the Senate about that. Well, certainly what I think is that there is a sense of urgency with respect to ratifying this treaty that needs to be both recognized. Historically, this has been bipartisan. This is a national security issue of great significance, and the sooner we get it done, the better.
In a lame duck session?
As soon as possible.
In a lame duck session?
The potential is there for a lame duck, absolutely.
And you would want that?
I would. That's the soonest possible time, absolutely.
And just so we're clear, why does one need Russia's cooperation today?
I've worked hard, not just in this treaty, with my counterpart in Russia, and I've seen it up and down our government over the course of the last couple of years. And we've really taken significant steps. No better example than this weekend, where President Medvedev was actually in Lisbon with all of NATO, supportive of a missile defense treaty, missile defense capability in the future. And a year or two ago, that just would not have been possible. The Russians have supported us in Afghanistan, allowed us to transport some of our most significant equipment where they could have pushed back on that. They've also helped in other ways that wouldn't be widely known. So the relationship is maturing very specifically, and it's one that's helped us in Iran. So there's been an awful lot tied into the improvement of this relationship.
Not ratifying it, does that harm American credibility? For instance, many of the senators who are saying, no, let's not do it in this lame duck session, are the very ones who say, we need to make sure that Iran doesn't proliferate nuclear material. We need to make sure, as we've just seen, that North Korea does not. How does this affect America's credibility when it comes to non-proliferation?
Well, I think President Obama said coming out of this NATO summit, many of the leaders there spoke to him about the need to ratify this New START treaty. And certainly it's indicative of the commitment that many other countries have to us and the importance of getting it done. So I'm certainly concerned about how, and in particular, how we look, and also this emerging relationship with Russia and what it would mean to not do that. And they've clearly sent signals already with respect to that, which haven't been positive.
What signals?
Just they've spoken to the need to get this done, the importance of it, and whether or not it would be tied to this relationship given all that we've done in the course of the last couple of years.